Video.
Good morning around the Diamond family. We are back. Took a couple of weeks off. We had a lot of travel we were doing between Bill and I. So took a little vacay, so to speak. But we are back. We're ready to talk some baseball over the last 2 weeks. There's been a ton of stuff that has happened, and we are going to talk about it. But we're going to start this off as we always do here at ATD. Baseball Bill, how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday?
Hey, listen, when we get to the standings, I'll tell you how I'm doing. Sam, how are you doing when we get to the standings?
I mean, I'm not doing great, but I'm doing better than the teams in last place.
Yeah, that's always a good way to look at it. We suck, but there's teams that suck worse.
Yeah, well, we're still very. It's between three teams in our division. We are still all relatively close. We are, and we'll talk about it. Let's get into it. We
Okay, let's
talked
get.
about this.
I thought. Okay, you're not including the Dodgers in that, are you?
No, I said between three teams, we're relatively close.
Okay,
You are 8 games
okay. I was just making sure because when you
ahead of
said
all of
that, I'm
us.
like, wait
So
a
the
second,
Padres,
wait.
the D-backs, and the Giants, we are all within between the Dodgers, between the Padres, the D-backs, and the Giants. We're all within a game and a half to 2 games of each other.
That I agree with. I thought you were throwing in the Dodgers in that mix. I'm
No,
like, wait a second, wait a second. Okay, go
no.
ahead. Let's get started.
Let's get going. So we talked about this 2 weeks ago, but in the last 2 weeks, this man has done some things that have just been
Who's this man?
unbelievable.
Who's this man?
Unbelievable. Who is this man? This man is Superman.
Okay, but you should probably show that on the screen, right?
He's Superman. And but you want to? No, I'm going to. I'm talking about Superman, Elly
Ah,
Superman de la Cruz.
Superman de la Cruz.
Superman de la Cruz. We talked about this 2 weeks ago. This man came into the league last year and blew all of our minds away. We came out of I'm not gonna say came out of nowhere, but came out and made an impression. And now he is taking that impression and bringing it to another level. In a month and a half, this man basically has a steal every day.
Yes, he.
And almost every goal in the base. And he picked up that average by stealing 4 times against the Dodgers 3 days ago or 2 days ago.
Yeah, we wanted to make him look good.
Yeah. Bill, what is it? What is it about him that just makes him so dynamic?
Um, he's got a lot of passion. He's got a lot of energy, and he's super quick. I watched the game last night, the Dodgers Reds game last night, and he hit a ground ball to Gavin Lux, who was playing second base, and the ball was closer to second base than it was first. But Gavin literally had to field it cleanly and throw a rocket, and he got him by one step. I mean, LA's just he runs, he's quick, he throws hard. He is the only negative thing I would say about him is he is a little hyper. I did see him field the ground ball and try to get the lead runner at second and about take out the second baseman's hand because he threw about a 200 mile an hour fastball. So I, he is a little hyper, but he is incredible talent. Incredible talent.
When we look at a guy like De La Cruz and we see what he's doing on the plate level, a lot of people that I know, and I'm sure you know, are comparing what he's doing from a stolen base perspective to like what Acuna did.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%.
I don't think
100%.
I. My question to you is not is he gonna meet what is De La Cruz going to exceed what Acuna did last year?
Not in the home run category. Not in the home run category. In the stolen base category, yes. I would place the safe money at the over under at 100 stolen bases, and I'd actually take the over. I'd
What do you
actually
think
take
his
the
number is
over.
going to be at the end of it?
Well, right now, considering that he's 47 games into it, 48 games into it, and he's got 30 stolen bases, I'm going to say he gets about 115. Like
Okay.
he's gonna motor. He's gonna motor unless obviously he pulls a hamstring or gets hurt or runs into a wall in San Francisco,
There's his
you know,
shoulder,
something. Yeah.
you know,
But one
takes the ball to the
probably 115.
forearm and shatters his forearm. There's a multitude of things that can happen. We'll talk about the injury report in a couple of minutes. But
Sounds
there's
good.
a multitude of things that could happen to him.
Yeah.
Last question.
Question.
Is Elly De La Cruz currently the leader for Rookie of the Year?
No, because he played too many games last season.
Did he?
Yeah. He came up last season in May.
I thought he came in July. I thought he came after the All-Star break.
Nope. Nope. He came in May. Because he broke in against the Dodgers. I remember that very well. Because he hit a home run against the Dodgers. That was a moonshot. And I thought this kid's gonna be good.
Yeah,
Same thing. I remember that because he gave me flashes of a Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard came in and just destroyed the Dodgers one
right.
series. I thought, oh, this kid's gonna be good.
Just it's a shame because obviously, what was it? Corbin Carroll won last year. But I think if De La Cruz had been brought up 2 months later, didn't play enough games, and was starting off the year like this, I don't think there'd be any question in any baseball analyst's mind that De La Cruz would be leading for MLB Rookie of the Year this year.
Yep, yep, yep. No, no question whatsoever. Will he get some MVP votes? Absolutely 100%. Will he win the MVP? Probably
No,
not. Probably not. Right
I don't
now,
think his home run count will end up being high enough for him to really be in consideration for that. Um, I
well,
think if we're just going off of like his average and everything, yeah. But when we look at who wins the MVP, if it's not a pitcher, we obviously are looking at all of the statistics. I mean, again, Acuna is the perfect example: 30 home runs, 70 stolen bases last year. I mean, and look at who else he was competing with. He was competing with Mookie Betts, who was over 30 home runs. He was competing with Freddie Freeman, who was over 30 home runs. He was competing with Shohei. No, not Shohei. So I think if De La Cruz can pick up his home run count, keep his average high, and keep on the stolen base track, it will be tough to say that this kid is not an MLB MVP in the next 3 to 5 years.
good call. Good call. Oh,
What do you think?
no, I agree with you. I agree I said last year was the last season that if he's healthy is the last season that he doesn't make the All-Star
Yeah,
team. I also think that he's going to be talked about I mean, Mookie's having a really good season. Shohei's having a really good season. Acuna's having a really good season. So he's going to have some competition. But you watch, he'll probably get 170 hits this season and still 115 bases.
yeah.
So,
You
you
think he'll
know,
only have 170 hits? I think he'll have closer to 200.
170 is pretty close to 200. Closer to
I
200
think
than
no, but I
100.
think he'll be within like 10 plus or minus 200.
Okay. Okay.
He
Okay.
gets on base enough to allow him to have the ability to steal bases as often as he steals bases. He's not getting walked. I mean, and the other thing on this is look at the number of times he's been caught stealing.
Mhm. Every sixth, every sixth time, he's safe one out of every six times. I mean, he's out one out of every six times. It's
I
insane.
mean, I I don't think there's been a player in history to have that kind of stolen base to caught stealing ratio.
No, no. He's
And
he's Ricky Henderson style numbers. Crazy.
yes, no questions asked.
Crazy.
Um, well, let's talk about what's been going on in the league.
Yep.
The American League has had a couple of shakeups in the last few weeks. Uh,
Hmm.
the Yankees have taken over or they are leading the AL East by about what is it now? 2.5 games, something like that. Um, oh, only a game. They're only one game behind. So this AL East is going to be a close thing to watch the entire season. Moving over to the Central, the Guardians are still holding control of that division. Royals, though, on their tail. Bill called it from the beginning of the season that the Royals are going to be the team that you want to watch in the Central because they are going to be the difference maker in the Central this year. And moving over to the West, there has been major shakeups in this division. The Rangers are second. The Mariners are first. The Oakland, Las Vegas, St. Salt Lake City A's are not in last place. I don't know the last time in 10 years I've been able to say that the A's are not in last. This is crazy. This is crazy. Bill, what are you seeing in this American League that people need to be looking out for?
So if I'm the Rays or if I'm the Red Sox, and I talked with Mike from Unraveling the Red Sox about this on and offline, um, the Yankees are so good right now, as are the Orioles, that you can't scoreboard watch. You just have to win baseball games.
Right.
The Guardians will not hold up. The Royals will take this division. I told you this early on. They look good. The Twins have come up, even though they've dropped a little bit. Remember, they had a 13 game winning streak or 12 game winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
The Tigers have petered out. The White Sox. Congratulations. We'll see you next season. Um, I don't even want to talk about the American League West because it. I thought the way that the American League West looks right now, I thought was what the Central would look like. I mean,
Right.
the Astros have won 6 in a row. They're only 5 games out of first place, and they're 5 games under 500. So I don't know what to say. I just do not know what to say. So
Yeah. The West is that kind of division that like you'll watch if there's nothing else to watch, but it's not like competitive as it's been like the last 3 years. Like
yep.
it's just and I was doing this thinking that, like you said, this was what the Central was gonna be. Like it was just gonna be it is what it is. But now the Central is more exciting to watch than the West. And I don't think anyone said that in the last 5 years.
Nope. Definitely not for sure.
So
Definitely not for sure.
it will be interesting to watch how this plays out. Again, keep an eye on that AL East and just seeing these teams below the Orioles just doing what they can to win games. And don't sleep on the Royals. They are going to make a statement between now and the All-Star break. I would be remiss if I didn't think that the Royals will be in the lead of the AL Central by the All-Star break. So stay tuned. We will keep an eye on it. Bill, take me through the National League. I know you are super excited to talk about this.
Yeah, so the Phillies are doing some crazy things. Remember, the Phillies did nothing in the offseason. Nothing really in the offseason. Yet they were only 1 game away from going to the World Series. So some people in Philly thought that that was a bold, stupid move, but bold move. So the Phillies did nothing in the offseason. The and they've taken the lead. The Braves are kind of picking it up. Now, the Mets are surprising me because the Mets are struggling trying to find their identity. I thought the Mets would be a lot better. I still think the Mets are a potential wild card team. Uh, who knew the Cubs would actually come out and play well? I anticipated the Reds or the Pirates to win that division. Right now,
Mhm.
it's not looking that way. And as it sits right now, I'm okay if the Reds lose the next 2 games because they're playing the Dodgers. But otherwise, I would love to see the Reds win. In the National League West, you have the 2024 World Champion Los Angeles Dodgers leading that division. The
I'm
Padres,
going to put a reel together of every single time Bill has said that on Top Fan. And if they do not win the 2024 World Series, I will post it.
perfect. I'm trying
And then
to
at the end, I will put See you next year.
Listen, Sam's only doing that because he's already talking about seeing next year with the Giants. Um, the Dodgers are playing well. The Padres, I cannot figure out their identity. They play really well for a series and then they forget. I don't understand them. But as Sam has said before, the Padres, Giants, and Diamondbacks are all kind of clustered right in there. One of them may make the playoffs, although obviously if the season ended today, the Padres would sneak in with a losing record. But what's funny about this is you've got the Braves in a wild card position and the Cubs in a wild card position, and those three teams that are cluttered right there may not get into a wild card position. So we'll
Mhm.
see how it all plays itself out. It's an interesting division. Sam, break down the division.
No, I mean, my prediction from the start of the season was going to be the Dodgers are going to win the West, and they're doing what the Dodgers have done. I mean, they've got a good team. They've brought in multitudes of good players. I mean, I hate to be the guy that calls us out, but their top three players were all brought in from other teams. So I don't think the Dodgers are going to be going back to what they were 10 years ago, where every player was from another team and nothing came from it. But I see more youth coming up from the Dodgers and them kind of stabilizing in this going out in free agency mode to really allow their youth to start showcasing that talent. And they've been doing a good job of it. So I'm not saying that that they aren't, but Dodgers are doing what the Dodgers have done for the last 5+ years. But yeah, the Padres, the D-backs, the Giants, we're all close, we're all tight. And could could one of our teams make the playoffs? Absolutely. Could we miss the playoffs? 100%. But that's why there's 162 games in baseball, and we're only about 50 games in. Moving over to the Central, I still see the Pirates winning this division. Um, I see the Cubs and the Brewers starting to trail off. I see the Reds picking it up. I still see the Cardinals ending in last. So a lot of shakeup in the next 2 to 3 weeks with this one. And moving into the East, the Phillies are just dominating. They are just playing great baseball. The city is behind them. The fan base, the city, everyone is behind them, and I think they are riding that level of energy, which is what's helping propel them to dominating in the East. Um, I see the Mets finishing middle to end of the barrel or middle to bottom of the barrel. Again, I just think there's a lot more competition in the East than they thought, and they're just not able to keep up. And that's where I'm sticking to. Where
Okay,
I'm keeping it.
so we'll do this. If the Giants actually make the playoffs this season, because I don't foreseeably see that happening, the next time I'm in your neck of the woods, I'll buy you a cheesesteak.
Deal.
Okay.
I'm not even going to say anything about the Dodgers making the postseason because I think everyone on the planet, except maybe like 0.00000000001% of the population, thinks that they're not. But I think
There's all
everyone else in the world knows the Dodgers are at least making the playoffs.
um there's always got to be that guy that doesn't vote for Jeter for the Hall of Fame. There's always got to be
Exactly.
that one person that doesn't think the Dodgers are gonna make the playoffs, right?
Exactly. They're never going to be that unanimous vote for Jeter to get in, but he will still get in.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Let's take a look at some of the stat leaders real quick. Shohei dominating on the batting average with a 358. And Ozuna over in Atlanta killing it on the RBI leaderboard with 41 RBIs so far this season. The batting average leaders are all pretty close, whereas the RBI leaders are all kind of scattered out. Bill, what about as the pitching guru for Top Fan Rivalry and ATD? What are you seeing in this pitching breakdown?
So I want to shout out Ranger Suarez. I've been like holding that flag for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now. The dude's best season, He went 10-7, and that was in 2022. He is now 8-0. His ERA is 1.37. After 8 starts, 1.37. Now, albeit he has had those 8 starts and he's pitched 59 innings. So if you're doing the math there, he's averaging about 7 innings a start. I mean, he's going a little deeper. So you got to shout that guy out. You
Oh
also have
yeah.
to you also have to shout out Tyler Glasnow. Tyler Glasnow is doing things that everybody thought that he was capable of doing, but because of injury, he hasn't been able to be that successful. Um, I mean, 6-1, 81 strikeouts, leading the major leagues with strikeouts. He'll have a 200 strikeout campaign this season, which will be great. It'll be back for him. Zach Wheeler's doing what he needs to do. Dylan Cease is doing Dylan Cease things. So, and then Turek over in Detroit has been a pleasant surprise. But let's not throw some sunshine on Chris Sale. Chris, weirdest wind up sale. The guy is doing good things over in Atlanta too. Another 6 wins. So
100%.
I mean, you got to give that guy a little love. You got to give Ranger and Chris some love. Um,
No question.
I mean, they're performing very, very well.
Yep. I couldn't agree with you more. It's great to see these young guys and guys like Ranger, like you said. I mean, coming out with a 10-7 season as his best and now being 8-0 with a close to 1 ERA. I mean,
Mhm.
I think it just goes to show exactly what that the Phillies are riding that energy. They're riding that high. They're keeping batters off the plates. They're taking advantage of missteps. They are doing everything right as a baseball team to get there. And I think they know that if it doesn't happen this year, it's gonna be it's gonna be a lot of shakeup in Philly if they can't make it this year all the way.
And also notice too, Sam, on this. Also notice that on the batting averages and the RBI leaders, every single one of those guys is playing for a team that's competing for a playoff spot.
100%.
Um, for the most part, the pitching leader is the same, with the exception of maybe Detroit might be out of it and the White Sox.
Right. Yep, you're right. I see Crockett. I see Garrett Crockett being trade bait in the next, as the trade deadline comes up, especially seeing where the White Sox currently sit. I just think they would be remiss to not take advantage of the youth they could get from him or for him. Um, but yeah, no, I agree with you. There's no question that these guys are taking advantage of the games and taking advantage of their skill sets to the best of their ability.
100%.
Let's look at the stolen base count real quick. Like we said, Elly De La Cruz killing it with 30 when it comes to stolen bases right now against him. Like, we don't even need to talk about someone else being close. What I think is interesting is that in 2 weeks, we've gone up 417 stolen bases in 2 weeks.
100%. And this is a topic, Sam, that you and I have. So if you're new to ATD, if you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, we do these counts just to kind of show how the game's changed and show what we're doing, like the difference in it. I love this. I mean, this is amazing. Elly De La Cruz, Superman, is doing things that a Superman does. So
He's even got the Superman pose as he's sliding into home plate.
yes,
So it's just crazy to see. We're gonna keep tracking that. We're gonna keep track of this the entire season, and I might be right. We might exceed both stolen base count and home run count. Speaking of home run count, let's take a look at the home run leaders. Gunnar Henderson is taking the baseball world by storm. I mean, he did it last year, but he's just putting a staple in it this year, putting a full stamp of approval that he is going to be the new face of American League Baseball moving forward. I think that I don't think there's a question in any MLB executive's mind. This guy's the face of the team.
Yep. Yep. Um,
Him, there's no question. Um,
so so
but
Sam,
Gunnar and Shohei and Kyle Tucker all are tied. And look at that, almost 700 home runs.
mhm, I know,
Like,
I know. It's insane. It's insane. So Sam, I'm gonna make a bold prediction. You ready for the bold prediction?
bold prediction, go.
Okay. I am making my bold prediction to say that Arson Aaron Judge will have 33 plus home runs by the All-Star break.
That is
Uh,
an extremely bold prediction that I am going to not agree with.
okay. Okay. Keep
My
in
bold
mind,
prediction, my bold prediction is that Gunnar Henderson will be 6 home runs, leading the home run count by the All Star break.
okay. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Because I remember, keep in mind that Aaron Judge hit um hit a home run and had three doubles the other night, and his bat is starting to catch fire. You don't want that dude to have his bat catch fire.
I agree, but we also haven't done a deep dive into who they're playing in the next month, in the next 2 months or month and a half before the All Star break. So before next week, we will come back with a breakdown of who the Yankees are playing and make a determination to see if they can actually make it, if Aaron can actually hit 30 home runs before the All Star break. I don't think it's possible. Touching on this injury report real quick, unfortunately, there's a lot of guys now out for the season. The injury bug in May has taken full effect.
Mhm.
Um, not going to go through all of this. Trout decided not to get season-ending injury. Decided he wanted to get the scope instead. Wanted to come back, and at least DH before the season ended. So he'll be back. Probably not before the All Star break. Most likely after. Um, I'll let you touch real quick on the Dodgers, but Jung Hoo Lee, the new rookie superstar for the Giants, unfortunately tore his labrum. He will be out for the season, but that just means he can come back next year and go in for competition for that Rookie of the Year spot because he only played approximately 30 games. So I'm okay with us getting a little teaser of Jung Hoo this year for him to shine next. That's all I
Right.
gotta say about that.
Okay.
Bill, take me through yours.
Nothing on here is too surprising. We've talked about a lot of these. Emmett Sheehan is having um Tommy John surgery. The one on here that hurts the most is Wilson Contreras. The Cardinals
Yep.
need something. I've watched them in person this season, and they are not playing with the same giddy up that the Cardinals normally play with. So that hurts. Being out until past the All-Star break hurts the Cardinals.
Do you see him? Do you see him just being out until after the All Star break, or could you see him actually being out for the rest of the year? Because it's the forearm. As the catcher, your forearm is one of the most important parts, you know, in this
Uh,
entire equation.
Unfortunately, I haven't followed his injury enough, so it would be hard for me to answer that question.
Fair enough. Well, as we always do, we love talking about baseball, but we also love talking to the fans of baseball. So, Bill, you've put together a exceptional pod day. Talk to
Yes.
me about the schedule.
So Mikey does a show every week called Bleeding Blue. Typically, it goes into our locker room, but it's actually going to be on uh, audio this week, and also in the locker room, and also on YouTube. Jason Beck is going to talk about the Yankees. He's been on the show a number of different times. The 100th episode of the year. Sam, are you ready for this?
I am.
It is going to be a daddy-daughter episode. Megan and Matt will be on with Sarah, not the Sarah that you know, but another Sarah and her father, and they're going to talk about growing up as Mets fans. That's going to be the 100th episode of the year.
Nice.
Jennifer is a new guest of the podcast, as is Marissa. So we're going to have a great lineup. We're going to cover the Mets, we're going to cover the Yankees, we're going to cover the Dodgers, we're going to cover the Twins. And then for those of you that aren't familiar, that are listening to this on YouTube for the first time, We do an Instagram live at 8 a.m. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard for one half of an hour. And so this week's guest, we're going to play Would You Rather with Joe. He is from Pop Art Sports Cards. He creates our sports cards for us. He's going to tell us who he'd rather have on his team. I'll give him two players. He'll talk about that. Jem is a Dodger fan. She's one of our brand ambassadors. And then Megan is our marketing director, and she'll be on with a couple of guests. So that's who we have for the remainder of the week, this coming week.
If you are watching this on YouTube, Bill and I do this show every Saturday. You want to check this out. We always talk about everything that's happening around the diamond. That's why we call this show ATD. Check us out either here on YouTube or on TopFanRivalry.com behind the locker room. If you use the code ATD, you can get 10% off your membership access and not only get to see amazing shows that we've been doing for 2+ years, but also you get to see all the amazing articles that are going on from the top fans themselves. As well, you get 10% off everything in the locker room. And let me tell you, the merch Bill puts out, chef's kiss, let me tell you. Let me tell you. Make sure you are going and checking out TopFanRivalry.com for new articles, podcasts, and merch, like I said, on the regular. New stuff's going to be coming out. We want you to be involved in the community. We want you to be involved in the ATD community. So let us know what you want us to talk about, and we will bring it up here on the show. Bill, any final comments for the fans out there?
Nope. Let's enjoy it. We'll see you next week.
We appreciate you taking the time to spend with us this Saturday morning. Thank you for watching, whether it's on YouTube or in the locker room, and we will see you next week on the field. Have a good weekend.